So I moved to Charlotte about 14 years ago, and I moved for a job. So after really putting a lot of my focus into climbing up the ladder, just felt that something was missing. And so then I really started to seek out different churches. So eventually we found Forest Hill, and one of the things that we wanted to do was join a life group as a couple. So one of the topics that we really started looking into was evangelism, and I think it was a topic that some immediately felt comfortable with and some did not. It took a lot of understanding of what the calling was and what he asks us to do. So what has really held me back in the past about sharing my faith is really not wanting to offend anyone. And that's just a big part of sharing your faith, is sometimes people might not agree. I got an email at work from an old coworker who had a fellow coworker that was moving down to Charlotte. Around that same time, I had been praying for an opportunity, and I thought this was an opportunity that might present itself. And as I stepped into the conversation with him the next day, I realized I was very hesitant about telling him about how I got connected. And then I knew immediately that delayed obedience is disobedience, but Pastor Chadwick says all the time, and I just had to really jump into it. And that's when I started sharing with him about the community that I had gained, that what my faith meant to me, and feeling comfortable in a new place. This was the best way to go about it. So the conversation went really well, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to invite him to church. He just started going to Forest Hill, and what he would do is he would send me texts after services and tell me how inspired he was and what a great message it was. And I just realized how God was working in him. With that, I realized that it was just a small thing that I had done, nothing really at all. It just took the initiative that I was asked to take to invite him. I had gotten an email from one of the staff at Forest Hill, and it explained that Michael had taken a baptism class and he was getting baptized in a few weeks. To think that just that being obedient and answering that one question would lead to him being baptized is just God's work in its finest. So I really didn't know how God would use me. I work in an office. I don't work for the church. I'm not a missionary. But I soon realized that he has me exactly where he needs me to be. His work is done all over in every place, and I just happen to be sitting at a desk. It took, listening to the Holy Spirit and actioning on that opportunity that he presented to me. But I think it's so important that we do, because you really get to see God's blessings in ways that you would have never imagined if you hadn't.